And I'm Sigoni Mohammed with your weather report.
Let's tell you what's making the news tonight. Man who flagged Alambi housing lodges a second complaint, this time calling for OPR to investigate Bokaro project, alleging irregularities.
Number of people held for questioning in missing Angelo case continues to grow, with 7 people now detained.
Police sources back claims of corruption inside Immigration Division, alleging a bribery racket that fast-tracked documents for hefty sums.
Coming up in sport, Evan Lewis stands firm for the Red Force. His second ever first-class century nudges TNT closer to the CWI for their title.
We've got Saharan dust and a tropical wave moving into the general area. The question is, will we see meaningful rainfall in the next few hours or not? I've got the details in the full forecast coming up.
In our top story tonight, another complaint about Landmark TT has been filed to the Office of Procurement Regulation. This time over a $150 million contract for work on a housing development in Bokaro.
Similar to the Alambi residential project, there's an allegation the newly formed state enterprise used select tendering. But Minister of Land and Legal Affairs Saddam Hussein says while he's unaware of the complaint, the OPR will have to answer to questions, as he finds it strange it did not have this same energy when the PNM was in charge. Akash Samru has more.
As the Office of Procurement Regulation continues to probe the Alambi residential development, where work is still ongoing, it is now being asked to investigate another residential development project, where it is again being alleged that state enterprise Landmark TT did not follow proper procurement procedure. A complaint letter to the OPR from Edward Collins, who said he is a concerned citizen, raises several major concerns about Landmark TT's procurement process for the Bokaro residential development project, particularly the alleged use of selective tendering for a contract reportedly valued at more than $150 million. The central issue is the allegation that Landmark TT bypassed open competitive bidding and instead invited only a limited number of pre-selected contractors to participate. The complainant argues this restricts competition, undermines transparency and accountability, and may prevent the state from obtaining value for money. Another major concern is that qualified contractors registered in the procurement depository were allegedly excluded from the process. The letter claims this alleged exclusion is inconsistent with the spirit and intent of the Public Procurement and Disposal of Public Property Act. The complainant is asking, how did Landmark TT determine the procurement structure and timeline, and what measures were taken to ensure the process was fair and accessible? He's also asking what factors led to the decision to use selective tendering in this case. Edward Collins also wants the OPR to take note that this latest incident comes after concerns were raised about the Alambi development, meaning that Landmark TT, even in the midst of the initial controversy, is still intent on doing business the way it wants, which he believes is a blatant show of disrespect to the OPR. Now, we could not get on to Landmark CEO Nishal Shenpuna, but Line Minister Saddam Hussein responded. Hussein said he was unaware of any formal complaints against Landmark TT, but argued the PNM was free to oppose any project undertaken by the company. He stressed that the developments are being fully financed by private developers, with no taxpayer funding or transfer of state lands involved. Hussein also questioned why the OPR did not object to selective tendering during the PNM's time in office, when he said billions in public funds were being spent, and claimed several complaints made during that period were ignored. He said the OPR board and regulator would soon have many questions to answer, and indicated Landmark TT intends to compare the regulator's current response with its handling of complaints under the former administration. He added that Landmark TT would continue pursuing housing projects at no cost to taxpayers. Attempts to contact the OPR for confirmation on whether it is actively investigating the complaint were unsuccessful up to news time. Akash Samaru, CNC3 News.
Meanwhile, the opposition leader is telling the Prime Minister tonight to stop with the distractions and address concerns surrounding Landmark TT and the HDC.
In a strongly worded statement, Penelope Beckles accused Kamla Persad-Bissessar of leading what she called a wicked and incompetent government. Beckles claimed Persad-Bissessar is deliberately attempting to shift national attention away from questions surrounding billion-dollar housing contracts and the ongoing scrutiny facing Landmark TT. Beckles further accused the Prime Minister of presiding over a government plagued by controversy and public dissatisfaction. She said the government should instead focus on addressing crime, economic uncertainty, failing infrastructure and water supply issues affecting the country. Efforts to contact the Prime Minister for a response were unsuccessful. Well, PNM Deputy Political Leader Sanjeev Boodoo is calling on the Minister of Land and Legal Affairs to directly address allegations of cronyism and nepotism surrounding appointments and contracts at Landmark TT.
Boodoo made the call outside Parliament today as scrutiny intensifies over claims that friends and close associates of the minister may have benefited from positions within the state agency. Last Friday in Parliament, Hussein defended the procurement process for developers selected for Landmark TT projects. But he did not specifically address claims that close associates may have benefited from appointments linked to the agency.
In respect of the allegations that I have seen circulating about what appears to be some sort of nepotistic appointment happening, I think that the minister really should say something to the public. It's either that it is so or it is not so. If it is not so, then, there's no problem. Come out and say that. If it is so, I'm sure there must be some logical explanation as to what is the connection among these people. But I do think that the public ought to be told something on it.
Boodoo says he does not want to prejudge any investigation by the Office of the Procurement Regulation, but insists transparency is key.
Meanwhile, as Janelle John Bates returned to the Senate today, after a short period of absence, the PNM's Women's League is defending the opposition leader's decision to take her time before making a decision on the senator's future. In
a statement, the league said Penelope Beckles has already taken action by removing John Bates from the Public Administration and Appropriations Committee. The Women's League added any decision on John Bates' future in the opposition Senate would be handled through the proper parliamentary process and not under pressure from the government. 7 people are in police custody as the search for missing 2-year-old Angelo Tobias Plaza continues. The home of one of the suspects was raided today in Goodwood as authorities look for evidence to find the toddler. But it has been 8 days since Angelo was reported missing from his Cambridge Trace home in Goodwood. His mother, Khalifa Tobias, and her partner have been detained since Friday.
Charges are not in contemplation at this time. Right? We are still in the investigative process, and notwithstanding 48 hours past, as long as the police are actively pursuing all information and leads, I think they are justified to have people, detained.
There's a multi-agency search ongoing for the missing child. The Hunters Search and Rescue Team searched the Studley Park landfill again, while another team searched Pig Farm Road in Goldsboro.
We have a search plan and we need to complete it. And it's only after we complete it, we could say, all right, things not adding up in this case. But we have to conduct the field searches, and it's only after that we could really come to a conclusion.
Well, Senior Superintendent Rodhill Kirk warned the public to be responsible with their social media posts, adding that sharing inflammatory or inaccurate information does not help the investigation.
Opposition Senator Melanie Roberts-Rajman is expressing sadness over Angelo's disappearance, saying the incident has cast a cloud over Tobago and sparks broader concerns about the safety and protection of children. Speaking with CNC3 News outside of Parliament today, Roberts-Rajman, who is from Tobago, says the island has been gripped by anxiety and heartbreak since news emerged last week that the toddler had gone missing. She said Tobago's response reflected the deep concern felt across communities, with residents mobilizing quickly to search, pray and hold vigils in hope of finding the child safely.
You've seen the efforts, and then you're kind of seeing the information come into hand, and every time we get a little bit of information, it's worse. So it's not a good time on the island, I'll tell you that. This has hung a cloud, a heavy cloud over the island. It's the only thing we're concerned about. I know that even in Trinidad, it has touched a lot of persons in Trinidad.
She said the incident points to a broader national conversation that must take place about how children are protected and how relatives, neighbors and communities respond when signs emerge that a child may be in danger.
However, she stressed that the immediate priority remains finding answers surrounding little Angelo's disappearance.
Well, as the search continues for the toddler who has been missing for more than a week, we asked if you are satisfied with the police's handling of the investigation so far.
Here's tonight's People Say.
They're doing their job, but I find them doing it too slow.
Yes, they are satisfied with it.
And why?
Because they are taking the time and searching for him.
Because they're making an effort, a lot of people come out and searching, so.
No, I'm satisfied with this investigation and with the police. We are dealing with the situation. It's been a week today, make it a week. And this is a baby, this is a newborn, and because as we say, this is something, as parents, we all need to get together with the police and find this baby.
Of course, they are humans and they need a little time as well, while we are praying for it to be addressed.
I think there should be more on the case.
Still to come in the news, weeks after equipment vanished from a San Fernando City Corporation's workyard, the mayor now says it was never missing.
One independent senator hopes NGC's decision to discontinue Moody's ratings will be addressed during the upcoming mid-year budget review.
Coming up in sport, as local sporting bodies come to grips with a funding freeze, the Prime Minister doubles down on support for grassroots sport. In the ever-changing media landscape, we at Guardian Media strive always to put you, our viewers and readers, first.
We strive to uphold the time-honored tenets of responsible journalism.
For us, accuracy is key.
And in our reporting, we strive not only to be first, but fair,
impartial,
and to uphold journalistic integrity.
Above all, we are accountable to you, and we must respect the views of our audience. That is our solemn contract with you.
Keen attention to detail,
rigorous verification of facts, use of credible sources, and sound editorial judgment.
Keep track of our editorial policies and guidelines, including our corrections policy, by logging on to www.guardian.co.tt for more. Former National Security Minister Marvin Gonzalez is questioning why no charges have been laid after Homeland Security Minister Roger Alexander claimed widespread corruption in the Immigration Division. Gonzalez told CNC3 News that during his 5 years on the National Security Council, he never received reports from intelligence agencies about such a racket. He said if Alexander has uncovered evidence, the public deserves to know how many people have been detained and will face prosecution. Police sources, meanwhile, are backing Alexander's claims, but stress the operation is not new. Investigators say the TTPS Anti-Corruption Bureau and Fraud Squad have been probing the work permit unit for 3 to 5 years. Police confirmed foreign professionals, mainly Chinese and Indian nationals, paid corrupt employees tens of thousands of dollars to falsify work visas and other documents. But despite years of investigations, few arrests have been made. Officers say probes often collapse because evidence is destroyed inside the ministry and suspects flee the country. Police stress that work permits must be signed off by the line minister. Attempts to contact Minister Alexander, as well as former ministers Fitzgerald Hines and Stuart Young, were unsuccessful up to news time.
A migrant advocacy group is tonight warning that thousands could be left out of the migrant registration. La Casita Hispanic Cultural Center says as many as 6,000 to 7,000 vulnerable migrants risk exclusion because of administrative bottlenecks, missed appointments, and poor communication with authorities. Speaking on CNC3 News, Managing Director Andrina Briceño Ventura Brown said her organization has stepped in to help migrants navigate the registration process. applicants, especially since international support mechanisms have scaled back. She explained the center has become a critical bridge for applicants struggling with language barriers, limited digital access, and missed appointments.
Listen, we going through all the WhatsApp groups because that's where the people actually expressing themselves, and I think more than 6,000 or 7,000 of people will be left behind. Just probably the minister may have to answer that question more accurate, but right now I feel is a lot of people who will remain out of the process.
She explained that many applicants are unable to complete the process, relying on community support for basic steps such as document preparation, translation, and appointment scheduling. She added that communication challenges are compounded by the fact that many do not speak English or Spanish fluently.
All the difficulties the country have because you have people who are unregistered and you don't know exactly what they're doing in the country. You don't get the process of actually get the fingerprints, to finalize the process. You don't know why these people not inside, why they not came forward. So as you give the opportunity for them to come forward, help them to finalize the process.
CNC3 News attempted to contact Homeland Security Minister Roger Alexander, and calls to his cell phone went unanswered. Venezuelan parliamentarian Angel Tortolero is defending his country's call for compensation over an oil spill that began in Trinidad and Tobago 2 weeks ago.
On Monday, Foreign Minister Ivan Gil said the spill has already affected 16,000 square kilometers of Venezuela's coast. TNT's Ministry of Energy confirmed the incident happened May 1st. In a televised interview today, Tortolero lamented that fishermen in Sucre State are the main victims of the spill. He explained compensation would fund cleanup and support those affected, while criticizing TNT for failing to notify Venezuela in time. Tortolero added Venezuela will take the matter to legal bodies. Energy Minister Dr. Ruda Munilal has already confirmed that they will be meeting with Venezuelan authorities on the matter. NGC Chairman Gerald Ramdeen is defending the state company's decision to end its 21-year relationship with international ratings agency Moody's, saying the move does not represent a retreat from transparency or independent scrutiny.
In a letter responding to criticism from former Minister Vasan Barrett, Ramdeen said NGC had instead engaged Fitch Ratings while maintaining its existing relationship with S&P Global Ratings. Ramdeen said all three agencies are internationally recognized members of the big three credit ratings firms, and argued the decision was part of a strategic realignment rather than an attempt to avoid oversight. He further stated that the suggestion that NGC is somehow retreating from scrutiny is plainly absurd, adding that the question is whether the agencies engaged are independent, competent, reputable, and internationally recognized.
Now, independent senator and economist Dr. Marlene Atz is hoping questions surrounding NGC's decision to discontinue its relationship with Moody's will be addressed during the upcoming mid-year budget review. Dr. Atz told reporters today the circumstances surrounding the separation between NGC and the International Credit Ratings Agency can raise concerns about transparency and governance, particularly given NGC's critical role in TNT's economy. She explained that an independent credit rating provides an important external assessment of the company's financial standing and governance practices, likening it to a personal credit score that offers assurance of financial credibility.
Because of all of the competing conversations in Nutrien, the profitability that was declared, the more than 70% increase in gas prices that NGC imposed on light manufacturers, all of these things could lead one to the conclusion that something is not adding up. And I think the opportunity would present itself at the mid-year review for us to have clarity as a country moving forward, because it could impact investor confidence.
Dr. Atz warned that these developments could create uncertainty and damage perceptions about the state-owned energy company.
What I would not wish to happen for us in the country, so you started with governance and transparency, I would not wish for there to be a perception that this significant institution that is important to Trinidad and Tobago's economic viability, that there is any perception that there is anything awry or that there is any risk.
Dr. Atz contended that while the review is traditionally focused on revenue and expenditure updates, an issue of this magnitude should form part of the national conversation. While economists say the IMF's projection of 0.8% growth for Trinidad and Tobago signals cautious optimism, but warn that high public debt, low gas production, and global uncertainty remain major risks to the economy.
Meanwhile, the National Gas Company has signed a new gas sales contract with Methanol Holdings Trinidad Limited, completing downstream renewals with Proman Group of companies and boosting certainty in the petrochemical sector.
Andrea Perez-Sobers has more in tonight's Business Watch.
The International Monetary Fund is projecting modest growth of 0.8% for Trinidad and Tobago in 2026, with inflation expected to climb around 3.1% this year amid rising global commodity prices. Economist Dr. Indira Sajawan says the IMF's outlook reflects short-term gains from higher oil and petrochemical prices linked to the Russia-Ukraine war rather than increased domestic gas production.
But the caution really comes in terms of saying to the government, listen, this is a short-term glip that is not really as a consequence of anything that we have done. It's not because we have increased supply of gas that is causing this, but it is simply a matter of increased prices on the international market, and be careful what you do with it.
Meanwhile, economist Mariano Brown says structural problems in the economy, including low gas production and slow diversification efforts, continue to limit stronger growth prospects.
Until that there is a significant change, new gas comes on stream, we are likely to be in the low growth region. We may have some effect, positive effect in terms of the second half of the year from the increase in prices, the energy prices. But the point is that the increased prices are stymied by the fact that of low gas production.
While Confederation of Regional Business Chambers Chief Strategy Officer Angie Jairam says the IMF report reinforces long-standing concerns from the business community over financial deficits, rising public debt, foreign exchange shortages, and the slow pace of economic diversification.
It also made it very clear that the country cannot continue to depend too heavily on energy revenues, while structural economic weaknesses remain unresolved.
Meanwhile, Finance Minister Devindranath Thakur, in a statement today, welcomes the IMF's recognition of the government's revenue and spending reforms, saying its recommendations align with efforts to improve public spending and protect vulnerable citizens. And now for a look at today's energy and foreign exchange prices. So was a CNC3 Business Watch.
The Trinidad and Tobago Police Service says investigators have received the forensic report into the shooting of Joshua Samaru, and investigators will now take the file to the Office of the Director of Public Prosecutions for legal advice and guidance on the next step.
Samaru was shot on January 20th by police at the corner of College Road and Dookie Singh Street in St. Augustine. His girlfriend, Kaya Seeley, who was also shot by police, was left paralyzed after the incident. The confrontation sparked public outrage. Video of the incident appeared to show him with his hands out of the window in a sign of surrender before officers opened fire. Police say several exhibits were sent to the Forensic Science Center for analysis, and the report was received today. The TTPS says the investigation is being handled thoroughly and professionally, and the public will be updated on the outcome.
Let's tell you what's still to come in the news tonight. Santa Cruz residents have been battling with an unreliable water supply for weeks. We'll tell you how they're surviving.
Well, temperatures ran hot all day across the islands, and this evening we're expecting some warmer temps. Just how low will we go? I've got the details after the break.
Hey, man. Where are you? Okay. He said 5 minutes. Anyone want dessert? Maybe he's stuck at the office?
Surprise!
Not yet, Carl.
Bro, I'm literally at the altar right now.
Relax. I'm almost there.
We're like the friend who isn't always late.
You have the rings.
CG United. Good like that.
KC Gingermint, your trusted and natural wellness. Now with healthier options. KC Gingermint with honey and lime. KC Gingermint with orange and KC Gingermint with lemon. KC Ginger, honey, lemon, lime, and orange. Natural and trusted for generations for soothing sore throats and digestion and boost immunity. Get your new KC Candy Gingermint extended range today and breathe naturally.
Food Basket Marketplace, Arima, Shogwana, Shafler, and Goville. Everyday low prices. Clean and white bleach, 950 ml, $15. Blue Waters Cran Water, 1 liter, 2 for $15. Hibiscus all-purpose flour, 2 kilograms for $15. Fox May cornmeal, 340 grams, $15. From fresh produce to pantry essentials and household items, visit Food Basket Marketplace, Arima, Shogwana, Shafler, and Goville. Food Basket Marketplace, where shopping is a pleasure and the price is right.
Looking for tires you can trust? Then listen up, Trinidad and Tobago. At the Tire Club, we carry the largest tire inventory in the Caribbean. Over 10,000 tires in stock and ready to go. No matter what you drive, cars, trucks, SUVs, tractors, we've got the perfect fit for you for every road, every terrain, every job. And we don't just stock tires. We stock quality you could depend on. Built to perform, built to last, and backed by a team that knows tires inside out. Simply put, when it comes to quality, we are second to none. And here's the best part, free fitting and free same-day delivery. Yes, that's right. Fast professional service without the extra cost. Plus, if you're buying in bulks, we've got special deals waiting for you. And here's what smart drivers already know. With ongoing foreign exchange challenges, tire availability could tighten and prices may increase. So it makes sense to stock up now while inventory is strong and prices is still in your favor. So whether you drive a car, van, truck, SUV, or tractor, don't wait. We're conveniently located at South Haven Shopping Center in Davie, ready to serve you. Meet our professional tire expert, Jason and Yapton. Give us a call at the Tire Club at 718-9300. Jason 370-3892. And Yapton at 735-3930.
Welcome back. San Fernando Mayor Robert Parris is now claiming that equipment reported missing from the San Fernando City Corporation's Carib Street compound was simply misplaced.
In a Facebook post today, Parris said a jackhammer linked to the matter had been found in a garage, while suggesting that a compressor was never missing in the first place. The issue surfaced weeks ago after reports that an undisclosed quantity of equipment had disappeared from the corporation's daily paid yard and transport hub, raising concerns about security lapses and oversight. UNC Alderman Viliana Ramutasing had called the situation wholly unacceptable and questioned why councillors were not formally informed. But speaking with CNC3 News this afternoon, Parris criticized the public statements surrounding the matter, saying investigations are ongoing and warned against turning operational issues into political controversy. Diego Martin Mayor Aquila Glasgow Warner is raising concerns following major traffic disruption caused by a large-scale medical outreach in the district yesterday. The initiative, led by Hands International in collaboration with the Community Hospital of the Seventh-day Adventists, brought hundreds of residents to Diego Martin for cataract and other medical procedures. However, the high turnout resulted in severe congestion and indiscriminate roadside parking along the Western Main Road and Diego Martin Highway, leaving motorists stranded for hours. The mayor praised the healthcare effort but says the lack of prior coordination led to the breakdown in traffic management. Discussions are now underway with stakeholders as authorities work to prevent a repeat of the situation.
For 3 weeks, residents in several Santa Cruz neighborhoods have dealt with an unsteady water supply as they complain that their lives have been significantly impacted.
But as truck-borne supplies provide some short-term relief, residents are calling for urgent long-term improvements to their water schedule. Shane Superville and Neil Romain visited Santa Cruz for this report.
Santa Cruz residents say dried taps are now the norm as a prolonged disruption in their water supply has brought life to a standstill. One resident, Michael Nanton, says explanations from WASA about the disruption have been vague.
For the past couple of months, they've always been having breakdowns, so they wasn't getting water regularly. But this time around, the explanation was low pressure. So I don't know what they mean by low pressure if there's no water in the reservoirs.
While in the neighborhood, WASA employees were seen filling tanks with truck-borne water. One employee says while servicing communities across Santa Cruz can be time-consuming, it's a necessary job to provide a much-needed water supply.
The tankers it because they have no water on the line right now.
But Parksville isn't the only community affected by the disruption, as residents in Sambuco urge WASA to consider their plight.
Think about the next person. Think about how the next person will feel without water. Think about the next person who have to go to work, who has their job is to deal with water.
In a post on WASA's official Facebook account, the authority cited mechanical repairs at the Santa Cruz booster station for the interruption and estimated that service would resume this Saturday. In the meantime, residents make the most of what water they can salvage. And while residents from various communities within Santa Cruz are grateful for the interim relief provided by truck-borne water supplies, they are hopeful for a more long-term solution to their problems. Shane Superville, CNC3 News.
It's now time for the weather forecast with Sigoni Mohammed. And Sigoni, I know those residents are probably really looking forward to the start of the wet season or some rainfall at least. Right. Tomorrow is the National Climate Outlook Forum. What can we look forward to coming out of that?
Well, I have yet to figure that out, but we are expecting from the Met Service a sense of what we can expect. Already the wet season has kicked off on a bit of a dry note. Will it get wetter? Will we see drier conditions? Will it stay hot as well, which we're also seeing? So there's a lot of factors to play in, and we'll also find out how many hurricanes or tropical storms will enter our area, which is very important. And right now, guys, what we have is that some outlooks like Colorado State University, they are forecasting a below average number of storms this year. They're expecting 13 named storms, for example, with 6 of those becoming hurricanes, 2 of which could become major hurricane status or reach category 3 or stronger. And this is slightly different from the outlook that's coming out from AccuWeather, a little bit more, right? But the average for any hurricane season is 14 total named storms, and we can see 7 hurricanes and 3 major hurricanes coming out there. So if you're wondering why outlooks are calling for a below average number of named storms, it all has to do with an El Nino, and an El Nino is expected to be ongoing, potentially even reaching super El Nino levels, which we'll talk about more later on. But El Nino is occurring during the Atlantic hurricane season, if I just step out here, often lead to increased wind shear and hinders hurricane development in our area. However, as we all know, it only takes one powerful landfall to call the season active. Even if it is a quiet season, it is still important to pay attention to the tropics. And right now, what the tropics have in store for us is a lot of moisture rolling in, but not bringing in impactful or meaningful rainfall. So for Trinidad and Tobago, right now we have showers along the northern and western coastline of the island. Tobago getting some quick passing showery activity as we approach midnight. And the temperatures are really warm into this evening's forecast, hitting the mid-20s. So no pulling of the covers into that early morning period, because into tomorrow we still have a lot of dry, dusty conditions. Saharan dust haze blanketing the entire region, and with it we have a tropical wave engulfed in dust as well. So it's not bringing any impactful rain for us in Trinidad and Tobago, while it is bringing some showers to the Guianas. What else we have in store? Just a little bit of cloudiness rolling in at times, and that's going to break up the sunshine, but it's not doing a lot. The heat is still with us. It's going to be packing a punch into the next couple of hours, taking us into tomorrow. So midweek hits us warm, slightly breezy, and dust here is still very much present with us in the forecast. Now, if that's enough for you to head to the beach, well, get this. Conditions offshore are moderate, but we can still expect occasionally choppy conditions in the nearshore areas. Waves are approaching 2 meters. The only thing steady and consistent here will be your winds coming out from a northeast to east southeasterly direction, and not too bad. The good news, though, is that spring tide is no longer in effect, so it's relatively smooth sailing if you do decide to venture offshore between these highs and these lows, and that's some relief in the forecast. Unfortunately, if you want to beat the heat, get in there when it's a nice low tide and soak it all up. But everything else, stay cool, stay hydrated, relievers, inhalers on hand, and everything else.
All right, thank you so much, Sigoni. Let's tell you what's still to cover the news. State wants to make parole mandatory, but the Justice Minister assures there will be a qualifying factor.
Living with diabetic neuropathy is exhausting. The burning pain and tingling that won't go away? Introducing Myolaxin D Gel, made for pain relief. Fast absorbing, non-greasy, and easy to apply. Its Carbomer gel formula delivers relief deep at the nerve level. Oleoresin capsicum helps reduce pain signals, while diclofenac eases inflammation. Menthol and camphor provide fast, soothing comfort, so the pain eases and comfort returns. Size doesn't matter. This 15-gram tube gives you maximum relief. Myolaxin D Gel, available at pharmacies nationwide.
Welcome to Holiday Inn Express and Suites.
Do enjoy, Stacey. You want some coffee?
Can I have the book?
Perfect then.
That's exactly what we need.
Hi, the pool is this way.
Whatever you're here for, we're here for you. Stay smart at the Holiday Inn Express and Suites.
Only BioStrath gives your body more than 60 of the essential nutrients it needs every day in a product that's 100% natural for stronger immunity, enhanced focus, increased energy and stamina. BioStrath. Get what you need naturally.
Things don't always go as expected. Be ready with Trinry for auto, home, business and group life. Call us at 800-TRIN or visit trinry.com today. Huge insurance premium. Pay your premiums bit by bit with FlexiPay from Trinry. For more manageable auto, home and commercial insurance payments, call us at 800-TRIN or visit trinry.com today. Trinry. Premier insurance coverage for less.
Welcome back. Holy Name Convent Port of Spain has launched an independent review process following allegations against Principal Sister Renee Hall that sparked days of backlash online. The school's Board of Management said an independent review committee has now been established, separate from both the board and school administration. The committee will be chaired by Mr. Vincent Pereira. Lucent Research has also been engaged. The board said people will be able to confidentially reshare concerns. The controversy erupted after a Mother's Day Guardian media profile celebrating Sister Renee's 25-year career and spiritual motherhood prompted former and current students to publicly accuse her of emotional abuse and mistreatment. Meanwhile, the Justice Minister is tonight assuring that prisoners will not be eligible for parole without first participating in a rehabilitation program.
Debate on the parole bill continued in the Senate today. Minister Devish Maharaj again underscored that the recent recidivism rate is more than 50%, meaning over half of the people who leave prison find themselves back in jail. This legislation allows eligible, well-behaved prisoners who successfully complete mandatory rehabilitation programs to serve the remainder of their sentences under strict supervision within the community rather than behind bars. Minister Maharaj lamented that most of the rehab programs right now are run by NGOs because no money is set aside from the state for that process.
The prison authorities tell me, at present, there is no budgetary allocation within our budget. for research, development, and implementation of rehabilitative programs within the prison service.
The minister said rehab programs are currently voluntary, but the proposed parole bill would make rehabilitation a mandatory, structured process overseen by parole officers and a newly established parole board. The bill was passed late this evening. Now, OpenAI is now allowing users to connect their financial accounts to ChatGPT in order to get more personalized advice from the chatbot. But should you be asking AI assistants and tools for financial tips?
Here's Brent Pinero with more on the risks and opportunities you should be aware of in tonight's Tech Talk.
Financially pressed and thinking about asking artificial intelligence for help?
AI is useful as an assistant, not as an advisor.
Well, NerdWallet's Sam Tube says AI can be great for budgets and savings. Be specific about your economic reality, and AI can provide step-by-step suggestions for achieving your goals. It can also be good for brainstorming solutions.
If you are looking for a list of investments that suit a particular criteria, it can pull a list of investments that meet those criteria for you.
And can map out your money habits.
It'll categorize your spending for you. It'll show you, give you nice graphs and charts. You could ask it, hey, can you identify all of my subscriptions? Maybe I want to cancel a few.
But use with caution. Before uploading financial documents or personal information into an AI system, check privacy and data retention policies. Opt out of letting AI train on your data. Redact bank account numbers and other sensitive information. Also, be careful asking for specific actionable advice. Nuances like law can be trouble spots for AI. And be skeptical, even if the answers sound right.
You really do have to do some level of sort of due diligence. It has very serious consequences. You want to make sure the AI gets it right.
Remember, this isn't a financial cure-all. It's a machine responding to what information you do, and just as importantly, don't provide.
It's not going to replace the need to know and learn about finance. It's more something that complements it.
Brian Panera, CNC3 News.
The world is moving a little bit too fast for me.
Slow down.
It's now time for sport with Jassy. Jassy, the EPL title is now decided, but here at home, Tier 2 is going down to the wire.
That's absolutely correct, Ryan. We'll have the latest highlights from local football's second division after the break. And we'll also show and tell. Sport is next.
Plumbing problems? Don't guess. Call Plumbing Solutions at 628-4646. Proud to be serving Trinidad and Tobago for over 20 years. We do it all. Maintenance and repairs, new construction, sewer lines, inspection, drain cleaning, leak detection. We are licensed and insured. So call Plumbing Solutions at 628-4646.
You can make your goals unfold, go get it. You can live your dream, join the team, let's do this. You can get the help you need to succeed with Rand Credit Union. You can believe that you can achieve big goals, small ones too. Rand Credit Union, we've got you. No more waiting, that won't do. Make someday today. One life, so make it good. Live the way you know you should. With Rand Credit Union, yes you could. Make someday today.
Live your best life today with Rand Credit Union.
Welcome back. It's time for sport now. A major police operation in the St. Helena area has resulted in the arrest of 2 local professional footballers affiliated with the Defence Force Football Club for marijuana possession. The exercise was coordinated by Deputy Commissioner of Police in charge of operations, Suzette Martin, and led by ACP Tawari of the Special Investigations Unit. A widely shared image appears to show the Boykato Road residence where the operation took place, with at least one other man said to be also implicated in the bust. This is a developing story with further details still coming to hand. Trinidad and Tobago Red Force is on the verge of a first CWI 4-day title in 20 years. Opening batsman Evan Lewis chose today, day 3 of the final match of the season, to notch his highest score so far, batting TNT to a 278-run lead over defending champions Guyana Harpy Eagles entering day 4. A 13-run lead to start day 3 gave Trinidad and Tobago the psychological advantage, but the Harpy Eagles had their tails up after seeing what the pitch might offer.
Gone.
Kimo Paul was the first to make use, luring Cephas Cooper into a lunge.
Oh, beauty, gone! 2 down!
Jid Gooley went next, Trinidad and Tobago 12 for 2. But cometh the moment, cometh the man. Struggling for runs all season, Evan Lewis chose the second innings of the final to come good. The TNT 50 was brought up from his bat, and then his personal half-century.
So we're back on the ball. Driving through the offside. That's beautiful.
Constructed from 76 balls with 9 fours. Lewis and Jason Mohammed took the team to 104 for 2 at lunch. Rain extended that break, and even when they returned, they were off again without a ball being bowled. Eventually, Mohammed climbed into the 30s and reached 37 before Paul trapped him in front. The 100-run partnership broken with TNT at 113 for 3. Amu Jangu joined Lewis next, and the two left-handers piled on 76 for the 4th wicket in TNT's cause. But with 186 on the board and 199 the lead, Jangu was Shamad Joseph's 2nd wicket. He made 48. Joshua De Silva was Paul's 3rd scalp, 205 for 5, but Lewis, whose highest score has been 49 in this his comeback season after 7 years away, took 2 when on 98 to bring up a crucial 100.
10 years separating 2 first-class hundreds.
His 2nd ever first-class triple-figure score. Once there, Lewis went on the charge, inviting Terence Hines to follow suit in a 54-run collaboration. But Guyana hit back late in the day, with Versamy Permaul accounting for the wickets of Hines on 23, Carey Pear for 5, and first innings hero Jaden Seals for a first ball duck. They left Lewis not out on 122, with TNT 265 for 8 at close of play, a lead of 278 going into the final day. Now, despite a recent funding freeze being placed by the Sport Company of Trinidad and Tobago toward the 15 governing bodies under its remit, Prime Minister Kamla Persad-Bissessar is saying that her government is committed to sport. She was speaking at the finals of the East-West Corridor League on Sunday. As patron of the East-West Corridor Football League, Prime Minister Kamla Persad-Bissessar was sure to make an appearance at Sunday's grand final, disembarking along the home straight of the Hazley Crawford Stadium track. Her arrival during the 3rd place playoff warranted the stoppage of the match. Later, before kickoff in the final, she addressed those gathered upon the culmination of 6 months of the league, championed by Parliamentary Secretary in the Ministry of Sport, David Naked. The Prime Minister's address came at the end of an especially emotional week for sport, one where 15 sporting bodies were told of a funding freeze from their line ministry's administrative arm, Sport TT. That development has already resulted in the cancellation of at least one major event, TNT's hosting of a Davis Cup tennis tournament. Before that, the national, secondary and primary schools athletics meets were called off, and a junior national cycling team was denied participation at a continental championship as a direct result of government's funding shortfall. Still, within the prevailing environment, the Prime Minister restated her government's commitment to sport and youth.
Across TNT, communities are demanding opportunities. They're demanding mentorship structures and safe spaces for young people to excel. Grassroots sports help provide exactly that. Since taking office last year, my government has made clear that sport and youth development form an important part of our national transformation agenda.
The evidence seems to directly be in conflict with the statements. Additionally, though, following initial inquiries from the Member of Parliament for Diego Martin West, Hans Devines, questions sent to Persad-Bissessar via WhatsApp on May 14th about the status of the board of the Prime Minister's Sport and Culture Fund remained unanswered up to news time. On Sunday, however, she assured that other forms of grant funding continues.
My government has already begun supporting sport and youth initiatives through grants youth programs, community sporting activities, and support for emerging talent across TNT. Because we know when we invest in youth, we invest in stronger, safer communities and a stronger future for our nation.
Football now. Defence Force FC traveled to the Northeastern Sporting Complex to meet Matura Reunited in Division 1 of the Trinidad and Tobago Premier Football League's second tier. However, it wasn't a joyous excursion as the home side triumphed in a 5-goal confrontation.
In the Far East, the teams went into the interval tied goalless, but didn't have to wait more than 6 minutes after the restart, Karen Vincent bundling the first in the 51st. 2 minutes later, Matura had another, Nickel Nicholas greeting the corner perfectly above everyone else. 2-0 in the 53rd, and Reunited rocking the defending champions. A frenetic 4-minute spell saw Defence Force return fire. Josiah Zuperville with a deft touch between two defenders and 2-1 in the 55th, before former Army midfielder Ikem Andrews restored the Matura cushion, showing up at the far post to tuck in their third, 3-1 in the 72nd. And the home support had one more to cheer when Candes Garcia let fly in the 78th, setting off a celebration in Trinidad's northeast. In other matches, Darian Moses scored a brace as Canby Mount Pleasant beat Harlem Strikers 3-1. QPCC had 3 different scorers in their 3-1 win over UTT. Police remained top of Division 1 with a 3-1 win over Central Soccer World. And Malabar Young Stars versus Palo Seco Union Hall produced the weekend's lone goalless match. With their win, Police still tops the Division 1 table with 40 points. 5 adrift is QPCC, Canby Mount Pleasant, Malabar and Matura comprise the rest of the top 5. Defence Force has improved but remains 6th, followed by Harlem and Palo Seco Union Hall. CSW is bottom of the division. Division 2 is also poised for a thrilling finish. Sides leads that section just 3 points ahead of Club Sando, 4 above Prisons and City FC in 3rd and 4th respectively, and 5 ahead of Pity Valley Diego Martin United in 5th. Jovan Ravello, CNC3 Sport.
Now, fresh after winning MVP honors for the regular season, Shea Gilgeous-Alexander and the Oklahoma City Thunder suffered their first loss of the playoffs, and Carlos Alcaraz is out of this year's Wimbledon.
When Erling Haaland equalized, but it was too little, too late. One of the finals score Arsenal, English champs for the first time in 22 years. Newly crowned MVP Shai Gilgeous-Alexander recorded 24 points, 12 assists and 5 steals, but the Thunder were unable to stop the Spurs from stealing home court advantage in dramatic fashion. After sweeping both the Phoenix Suns and the Los Angeles Lakers, OKC fell 122-115 to the San Antonio Spurs in double overtime in Game 1 of the Western Conference Finals. Victor Wembanyama had an almost omnipresent performance, finishing with 41 points, 28 rebounds and 3 blocks to lead the Spurs to a road win and the 1-0 series lead. Meanwhile, two-time Wimbledon champion Carlos Alcaraz will miss this year's championship due to a lingering wrist injury. The world number 2 has been sidelined since suffering the injury to his right wrist during the opening round of the Barcelona Open and had already withdrawn from the French Open.
And now a true phenomenon takes tonight's Sport High.
How do you solve a problem like Wembanyama? Don't ask OKC because they had no answer for the francophone extraterrestrial in the paint. He was everywhere, storming through traffic to put down the hammer, patrolling the skies to keep them out, and even scarier.
What in the Steph Curry is happening?
Wemby's 41 points and 24 rebounds calms the Thunder, takes tonight's CNC3 Sport High.
Really outstanding performance indeed. And speaking of outstanding, Ryan,
it's been 22 years in the making.
Congratulations.
I was in secondary school the last time Arsenal won it. I read it in the papers.
So just the other day then. Yeah. All right, thank you so much, Jassy. Let's take a break. We'll be right back.
Magical Expressions Limited is the largest local importer and distributor of fresh cut stems, offering the widest range of beautiful flowers at the most affordable prices. Call us today at 701-6488 or visit our website to order.
Heart disease is the #1 cause of death in Trinidad and Tobago, driven by 2 silent threats, diabetes and high cholesterol. But now there's a powerful ally, introducing Berberine Plus by Asia Nutrition, clinically proven to stabilize blood sugar and keep cholesterol levels in check. With 99.9% pure extract, You get superior absorption and real results. Available now at Pennywise and leading pharmacies nationwide. Berberine Plus. Your heart deserves better.
Visit Tire Clinic Marketing, New Truck and OTR Tire Service Center at number 30 and 32 Montrose Main Road, Chaguanas. Call today at 665-8973 or 672-3419. Alignment services available. Tire Clinic Marketing, Truck and OTR Service Center. A tire for every need.
Let's take a look at the developments across the region.
The government of Belize is urging citizens to remain vigilant following a recent surge in measles cases linked to international travel. The Ministry of Health reports that 8 cases have been confirmed so far this year, with several suspected cases now under review. Health officials are monitoring the highly contagious virus and urge anyone experiencing symptoms to immediately contact the nearest health center. Guyana President Dr. Irfan Ali has welcomed the United Nations to the Global Biodiversity Alliance. The UN resident coordinator signed a letter of intent joining the alliance, which was launched by Guyana in 2025 to merge nature conservation with national economic policies. Barbados Prime Minister Mia Mottley is calling on productive sectors to help shift the nation from consumers to producers. Mottley noted that the country's import costs are now nearly 5 times its export earnings. She urged industry stakeholders to utilize high regulatory standards and alternative financing to expand global market access.
From here, we take another short break. We'll be right back.
Dress like you mean business. At The Working Woman, we bring you stylish, professional looks made for the modern woman. From casual to formal workwear, we've got your professional wardrobe covered.
Get the story first. Want to know what's happening in news, sports, or crime? Get the CNC3 app. As the story breaks, CNC3 is there giving you the story first on your mobile device. Be connected to the most trusted and reliable news source, CNC3. Access your world with just a tap. The CNC3 app. Download it today.
Welcome back. As Trinidad and Tobago prepares for a changing energy future, TNTech is now turning to classrooms across the country in search of the next generation expected to power it.
From renewable energy and electrical engineering to artificial intelligence and cybersecurity, students are being encouraged to see the energy sector as more than just wires and utility poles. Over the weekend at Naparima College in San Fernando, TNTech and the Rotary Club of San Fernando South launched the School Partnership for Awareness, Responsibility and Knowledge Initiative, known as SPARK. The program is expected to expand nationwide through caravans and roadshows targeting students from ECCE to secondary schools while exposing them to careers tied to the country's evolving power generation industry. Interactive booths form part of the launch as officials promise to reach students beyond traditional denominational schools.
This is one of the ways in which both the Rotary Club and TNTech now in this collaboration will get to our students through these clubs in these schools. And as was indicated before by the President, you have these clubs throughout all secondary schools, not just the denominational schools. So this is another strategy in ensuring that the information and the future opportunities all our students have been exposed to.
Education Minister Dr. Michael Dollard said more than 250,000 students are expected to benefit from the program. TNTech General Manager Ian Ramratan said renewable energy will become increasingly important as the country works to manage its natural gas resources while remaining economically competitive.
Well, just before we leave you tonight, let's turn now to our photo of the week. This stunning image captured by Guardian photographer Roberto Cadallo features an aircraft soaring beneath a waxing gibbous moon over La Horquita. Taken moments after departure from the Piaco International Airport, the photograph showcases impeccable timing and perspective, the striking contrast between the silhouette of the aircraft and the luminous moon beauty beautifully juxtaposes modern aviation with the timeless wonder of nature. A reminder that even amid human innovation, the beauty of the natural world continues to captivate.
That's right. So many beautiful things if we just look up.
Yep.
All right, well, that's how we end the 7 p.m. news here on CNC3. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Ria Rambali.
I'm Ryan Beachu.
I am Jassi Marik.
And I'm Sioni Mohammed. Do have a good night.